four. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the EG Pot Thunder with your boy, the young light-skinned Keith Sweat. And to my left, my guy, Ross Turbo Levine, 7-0, undefeated, Karate Combat Middleweight Champion, also owner of Turbo Sports Performance, baby. I'm glad you came through and made your debut with the EG Pot of Thunder, baby.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Yeah, this was we put this together really fast. It was pretty dope. And you got a great setup. So
Thank you,
I
man.
saw some other episodes and was like, yeah, let me jump on this. I love doing this stuff. Anybody that's going to give me a platform and want to learn more about me, I'm in.
Yeah, man, I love to hear that, man. Like, you reached out, you responded back pretty quickly. Well, I reached out and you responded back pretty quickly. And I love to see it, man, because I'm trying to put on, like, with my podcast, one of my like goals and visions is to put on anybody for like who's trying to go out and go get it, you know, being a hustler, and also like putting on like local like businesses, athletes, and helping Rhode Island get that spotlight, because Rhode Island's definitely, you know, undervalued, and in my opinion, with the athletes they have. We have a lot of, you know, people that can make it, like the Quiddies of the world, you, hopefully up and coming, my guys like Angel, Cam, we just found out we have a common friend there. And, you know, there is definitely hidden gems in Rhode Island. Do you think that's something that kind of inspires you to be like, I know you're also like a coach and you're the owner of Turbo Sports Performance.
Yep.
Do you see that like where Rhode Island's just like being undervalued and there's so many things that can be like matured from here?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, Rhode Island is the smallest state, right? But I'm actually not from Rhode Island. I'm a New Yorker at heart. I grew up in New York City, born and raised in Brooklyn. And I actually, you know, I'm sure we'll get into how I ended up here. But yeah, for such a small state, it is packed with talent. But even at like the professional level, you don't see a ton of people that rep Rhode Island. But now you're starting to see this big come up, this like second wave.
100%.
You know, guys like Cootie Pay are leading the way now. And it's like, wow, there's a lot of talent here. A lot of people that just work their asses off. And can we swear on this podcast?
I'll go for it, bro.
All right, cool. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, just all this talent kind of rising through, and you're seeing it show now.
100%. Like, it's kind of crazy, the New York tie, because anytime I go somewhere, like, oh, where you from? Now I say Boston, because I'm sick of the, where you from? Rhode Island? Long Island?
Yep.
No, bro, you don't know your states. Rhode Island.
Yep.
Did you think of that? Like, when you were from New York, did you know Rhode Island, or like, or are you one of those New Yorkers or like other people where they're like, I don't know what Rhode Island is?
No, I know my geography for sure. I'm good.
That's what I think, bro.
My geography's good. I don't know why people don't know it, but you're right, man.
Don't
Especially it's like, oh, Long Island. And they're like, no, Rhode Island. Oh, Boston. So I'm like, yes, yeah.
Funny,
in between.
100%. Funny story. I was actually in LA. I was like 21. And I was on like Fairfax. And I was talking to some dude. And he's like, oh, where you from? And at that point, I'm like, I'm over. I'm like, oh, I'm from Boston. He's like, oh, shit, me too. What part? I'm like, oh, fuck.
Damn, now you're going to go into it. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't know which part.
Now you're
like,
a fraud.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, no, bro, I'm from Rhode Island. He's like, oh, bro, what? You didn't think I knew what Rhode Island was? I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm like, no.
Yep.
You're like the one person I talked to all the vacation that knew what it was. And of course,
right.
Now I'm a fraud.
It's all good. You made it work, though.
Yeah, man, sometimes you got to fake it till you make it, man.
100%.
And, I'm at it. Obviously, I just found that out right now. So, from New York, why did you make that transition to Rhode Island? Did that have anything to do with the, you know, your job title right now, or is it just like a random move?
Yeah, to some degree it did. So I'm also a doctor of physical therapy. I have my doctorate. I do my PT thing.
Let's get it, baby.
So yeah, I did that, and I went to school up in New Hampshire. So I graduated Franklin Pierce. And then I kind of bounced around a little bit. I lived in New York again. I lived in Aspen, Colorado, doing
cool.
my internships and all that. And at the time, I was dating a girl who lived in Rhode Island. So I moved here. Didn't work out, but all good. So
dedicated.
I loved my job where I was at, you know, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to stick it out. I was like 27, 28. Like, let me try and make this work really and be independent and kind of start my life. So I loved my job. At the time, I was working for Performance Physical Therapy, which is a big brand out here. They do an awesome job. Got my career started and just kind of stuck around, and now have my coaching staff for my pro fighting career, and I'm teaching. I met my wife, and here we are.
I don't want me asking, how did you meet your wife? I love, you know, the EG Pop Thunder, we love a good love story. And, you know, I've got to fights about being single, about being in relationships. So I love hearing, you know, a true love story.
Yeah, my wife, we met at the gym. She was kickboxing as well, was an amateur competitor. So at first we were teammates. You know, when I first joined the gym, I had a girlfriend, she had a boyfriend. So it was just, we were just teammates, support each other. And then, you hear the typical story of like, oh, I saw she was, no more pictures on Facebook. So I slid into the DMs, did if you ever need to talk, I'm here. But we were already good friends. So it just,
You
it's
sound
kind
like a
of,
slut.
I guess. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Me though, not her. She's great.
You.
Definitely me.
You know what? No pictures, my time.
No,
my time,
I did.
I've been.
Yeah, exactly. So it just worked out nicely, and she's amazing, man. And yeah, she'll probably be on the pod too. So
I mean, that'd be fire. That's kind of, so it's kind of funny. So like, say like when you had your girlfriend, she had your, like her boyfriend at the time. What, like, obviously you must have thought she was attractive and stuff like that. But is there like something there? Like, was your girlfriend like, oh, so there was there girls there? And you're like, nah, there's nobody. And then like back of your head, you're like, oh, I mean, there is kind of a cute girl there. I don't know.
yeah, it's funny. You look back at the little things when you finally meet like that person, and it's like, did I notice them as like far back as I thought I did? And like, of course, the answer is always yeah. There was always an attraction, but no, the girl that I was with at the time, she kind of understood that I did martial arts, and it's like no matter where you go, there's girls everywhere. Like, oh, there's girls at the gym. Of course, there's girls at the gym. There's guys at the gym too. So it's like, I don't know. You can't please everybody.
Oh,
but,
definitely not. That's my thing too. I'm like, what do you mean? There's guys there too.
Yeah.
What do you? Am I talking to these? Oh, I probably am talking to the guys, but
yeah,
like in a different way. But like, am I talking like that? Like,
right.
You have friends,
yeah.
And that's the big key to obviously trust and stuff like that. But is there like the same dynamic? Just speaking of kind of relationships and meeting girls and guys at the gym, is there like that same dynamic where in like an MMA gym where, say at a commercial gym, at an Edge, a Planet Fitness, there's that like, especially right now, there's that stigma of like, all right, look forward. Don't look at this girl squatting. I might get caught. I might get on a reel on Instagram. I might be TikTok famous for the wrong reasons.
For sure.
Is there that same like stigma in MMA gyms?
Yes and no. It depends on the gym, right? I think the owner of the gym, they are the ones in control of the culture of the gym. So that's really where it starts and finishes. You will see those gyms that, yeah, you get a bunch of girls that are dating all the different guys and guys that are dating all the different girls and so on and so forth. And yeah, they could be creepy when they're trying to grapple and do the jiu-jitsu and stuff. There are guys that, mess around in ways they shouldn't when they're doing their striking drills, but I think that happens in every gym, but again, it comes down to the coaching staff and like, do they establish the right culture from the beginning? So where I'm at, Pride Martial Arts, I've never seen an issue in the gym. I've never been a part of an issue in the gym. It's always kind of family atmosphere. Everyone's cool. We all support each other. So in this instance, absolutely not. I guess I violated that, but no, it was never like Maddie and I never had like a creepy moment in the gym where it was inappropriate. We were legitimately friends, teammates, and then it just kind of grew and grew, and it was cool. Coach knew. Our coach married us.
Really?
Yeah. He was the JP.
Did he get ordained just to do it?
Yes, he did.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, and it was honestly, I've been to a lot of weddings. I have a lot of friends that got married, and my wife works in radio, so the main host, Michael Rock, is a DJ. He DJs tons of weddings, and everyone was like, that was the best JP I've ever seen. It was the best like service, like ceremony.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It kind of makes it like organic, right? Like one of my good friends, shout out to Brett, former EG Pod alum, and Steve, they're best friends. And Steve got ordained to do Brett's wedding. Yeah. Same thing. Everyone's like, Steve, you did amazing. So good. Literally amazing. I think it's a little different because they have that chemistry already. They know, like, he probably knew you guys more than an other priest would be. So kind of makes that more organic, that like true, makes the love story even more true.
100%. And like, there's no one in the world that knows us better individually and together, 100%. So he saw that kind of love grow and build, and he's seen us in moments that were great moments and bad moments. So it was literally the perfect. Shout out Andrew Cornell, you're the man. That was the best service ever.
Hey, fire. Just to like, let's touch back a little bit because I'm intrigued. So like, you're saying that people can punch wrong way, and I actually was a black belt as well back in the day before high school. And then, high school sports got kind of into the way. But, so I kind of don't remember. To like refresh, I didn't do anything like that as a child or like, middle schooler. But like how, like, that's like, how are you like hitting someone inappropriately, whereas like sexually and like grappling, whereas like, how does that even come to mind? I don't understand. Like, I used to like tie up like my brother, he was wrestling a little bit in high school. And obviously, it's a guy and guy, but whatever. Like, that would never go through my mind to be like, I can make this sexual. I'm like, my brother's choking me out right now. I'm trying to get back and choke his ass out. So like, none of that stuff gets into my head. So like, how does that come about? And then like, if it does go about in your gym, is it like a one and you're done, or is it like you're kind of giving that guy chances?
Yeah, I mean, it's in the jiu-jitsu, it's probably a little bit more prevalent when you have the grappling, because you have positions that if you're being immature about it, and you have a guy and a girl that are working together, and like you're working in guard, right? So the guy's on his back, woman is in between his legs are closed, or vice versa. It's like, if you're immature, you could be like, ooh, what is this? This is great. And yeah, I'm in your guard. And like, it could just be stupid, creepy, that there's no time for that. There's no 100%. Room for that. And there's also the culture of like, guys locker room, you do a good job, you smack them on the ass. Yeah, great job. Well, you can't do that. You can't do that in the kickboxing gym.
Definitely
so,
not.
Yeah, listen, man, if there's a way to do it, people will find ways. But like I said, it's up to the coaches to establish that. And in my opinion, there's a zero tolerance rule for that.
So you're one and done, you're out.
Why not? I mean, there's nothing worse than when women feel inappropriate, or like women feel like there are people being inappropriate to them in the gym when they're going for the same reasons that I'm going. They're 100%. Trying to get in shape, trying to have a good time, let out some stress, and learn some self-defense. They shouldn't feel like predicated on when, like there's predators in the room, like judging them or whatever. Like
half
there's
the reason,
no room for that.
There could be a reason they're going to you is to prevent that.
Right.
And then they go there, they're getting that happening there. And then the complete opposite, you don't want to make them feel weird. So I can definitely see where that, where that's coming from. So, we got, like, that's what you do right now. So to get to that point where you own your, Triple Sports Performance, where you are 7-0 undefeated karate champion, where does that like mindset come about? I'm not sure if you've been asked on the podcast beforehand, but like, did you have like a moment in like your life where you're like, all right, this is the moment, this is where my career path is going down, this is my life, I'm sticking to it and going for it?
Yeah, that's a great question. At first I was doing martial arts since I was a little kid. So I was doing what people would refer to as sport karate or point fighting. It's kind of like that fast-paced tag. It is worldwide. It's super popular, but it's its own little thing. So most people know guys named like Wonder Boy, right? Wonder Boy has that lead leg stance, and he's known as like the point fighter of MMA. So I came up in the point fighting circuit and did that until I was like 30. So I was all around the world, multiple time champion. Like I was at the highest level of sport karate. And then when I moved to New Hampshire, like I was telling you about, I didn't have that same like coaching staff. So I went to an MMA gym, started kickboxing, training with Team Link. So shout out to Team Link up in Hooksett, New Hampshire. I just started doing some kickboxing, and it was new, right? So it was something that I wanted to start touching base on a little bit more. It was a new challenge. I had to diet. I had to cut weight.
The worst.
And it was just cool, and it was different. It was exciting. And that's when I was like, you know what? I've watched this stuff growing up. I love watching it now. I want to test myself. I want to see if I can be the best in the world at this too.
Like a new chapter in your life, new challenge to conquer.
100%. So eventually we closed the book on the sport karate career. I had 11 amateur fights. And then at that point I had already moved to Rhode Island. So finished my amateur career here. And then my coach was like, listen, you train like a professional. You do strength and conditioning. You have a nutritionist. You take care of your body. You train your ass off. Why don't you get paid for it? 100%. I was like, that sounds like a great idea. If you're confident in me, let's do it. And then we turned pro.
I love it, man. I love it. I touch back on like the point systems. Is that like when I was doing karate and we would be sparring, is when you're doing in the full fights. I've never seen a fight for that, if I'm being completely honest. Are you wearing your gear as well? I know like when I was like sparring, like out the top in your helmet point, you get that system. Is it like that when you're full on in the full fight, or is it strictly just all bare?
Yeah, no, you're in the sport karate world. It's like uniform, so you're still wearing kind of like the same way you're doing in class, but just at an escalated level, right? So you're making pretty hard contact. The knockouts are not encouraged, but they happen. But yeah,
I hate you get like a reverse like kick to the chest. I'm like, yo, what the? Come on,
that's the worst, man.
Come on, bro. I was not expecting that shit.
But yeah, it's full gear. Headgear, hand gear, foot gear. Now they have elbow pads to save people from getting cut. Obviously, I'm all like, you guys can probably see all my scars and stuff, but yeah, I'll cut up from.
We're in 4K. We're in 4K, so maybe they can.
Yeah.
But, so when you're doing that, so you're doing that strictly for the love of the sport. You're doing it. You're paying for these tournaments. You're are you, or I'm this
Yeah. So at that level, I was on a sponsored team where I was very fortunate. I had some great people around me, good coaching staff and teammates. So we were sponsored, paid for. I didn't have to pay for a large majority of my adult competitions. So I was very fortunate in that degree, and we were getting paid. So even though it's not considered professional like you would see professional boxing, MMA, kickboxing, whatever, because there's no athletic commission involved.
Gotcha.
So even though it's an amateur sport, I was still getting paid for it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I was actually making pretty decent money doing sport karate tournaments. The thing is though, you got to go to a lot of them and you got to win. So
if you suck, you ain't winning shit.
You ain't winning.
You ain't winning shit.
Then you're just spending money. There's a lot of people out there that we need those people too. So,
so you go in there, they're paying to get their ass kicked, and then you're like, bro, I appreciate it, man.
hey man, what are you gonna do?
Hey man, they love the sport though. I mean, they love the sport. You gotta give them a shout out too, because that's the one thing I would say. Like when people, even obviously it's not even the same world. I don't want to get like people offended. I'm not sure if this is an offensive question to you. Even like WWE, MMA, like Bellator, UFC. To do that takes a lot of balls. Obviously, WWE is scripted, but that shit hurts still.
Yeah.
UFC, MMA, all that, Bellator, you have to get, even the people who are losing, they're going in there, risking their life every single day, which people don't understand. It's like, do you have the balls? Sometimes you probably wouldn't even get to a fight at the bar. Never mind.
Yeah.
You're going in willingly knowing you're going to go face Brock Lesnar, Frank Mir. You're going to face fucking Anderson Silva, these top of the guys. They're going in. Like, how do you feel about stuff like that? Like, do you want people are like saying like, oh, like, I don't know, like, do you feel some type of way about people like that when they're like just judging like, oh, you do like MMA or anything like that?
No, not at all. Because we need those people, right? They can say whatever they want, but as long as they're watching, we need the views because the more views we have, the more sponsors we get. The more sponsors we get, the more I can get paid. So it's a revolving cycle. Like I can't please everybody. I think I have a really great fan base. I love my fan base. But there's a lot of people that don't like me too. And you know what? That's cool.
You need them too.
I need them too.
They're gonna pay to watch you lose.
100%. Well, they're not gonna see me lose, but they're gonna hope I lose.
That's what they're doing. They're paying. They're paying to see you lose.
But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because you think of it like the iceberg effect, right? What you see on the day of the fight or the night of the fight when you watch these big events, UFC, Bellator, Karate Combat, stuff like that. All you see is the very end result. That's what's above the water. When they walk out and they fight, they do your thing, there's a winner and a loser. What you don't see is everything underneath, and that the training, the sacrifice, the relationship problems, the mental health issues, the nutrition, the eating disorders. Like, bro, it's crazy the stuff that fighters go through. So, I don't take that stuff personally. It is what it is. So we need everybody.
Yeah, I guess part of that question I probably didn't say it the proper way was like when people are like, oh, that's just easy, like he's a pussy or whatever like that. It's like, I know this is all the topic too. I actually got into not an argument, but a conversation with my friend who does MMA as well about this. Like when people are like, oh, CM Punk's a pussy, like he didn't deserve that. But it seems like you understand like the business side of it. I'm not sure how you feel being in your entire life you've done combat sports. How do you feel about someone like a CM Punk coming into UFC, overstepping everybody, getting the opportunity over someone like you? But in my defense, not my defense, my opinion, I think that is good for the sport though, because he's bringing eyes like that fight right there. I tune in every now and then to UFC, but I bought that pay-per-view and I watch everybody because I know CM Punk was, and then I found out who his opponent was. Then I saw the rest of the card. And I'm like, okay, maybe I like this dude now. Like, if you were on that card, I'd be like, oh, that's Turbo. That dude is Ross Turbo?
Yeah.
Fire, cool, man. I'm going to check him out. Like, yeah, he overstepped people, but I think there's a business side of it as well where you need to get more eyes on the product.
Well, let's be real about it. And people are definitely going to be butthurt. But if you got overstepped by CM Punk, you probably didn't belong there to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you got a guy who had limited experience, and he got there because of his notoriety elsewhere, not because he was dominating the amateur scene or dominating the regional scene. So if it was between you and CM Punk, and they chose CM Punk, they probably had a right to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at the same deal, like, if that's the level I'm at, there's going to be much tougher guys ahead of me than CM Punk. So I need to get back, train harder, win some bigger fights, and elevate my skills, because then the next time they're going to be like, do I want this guy Or do I want CM Punk to be like, yeah, I need this guy first.
Yeah.
And then CM Punk's going to take somebody else's place. It's the same thing like Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Right? People are so upset about Jake Paul, but you know what? The guy's out there doing it. And you know what? I'm so grateful that he's bringing attention. So many people are like, I hate this guy. He's a bum. He's just a YouTuber. He's not a real boxer. Who cares?
Yeah.
There's so many more people of that generation that are starting to watch combat sports because of him, like Misfits Boxing. You too?
Me too.
Yeah, crazy.
So again, I watched Jake Paul 2 weekends ago. I would have never bought that pay-per-view if it wasn't for Jake Paul.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know, again, I haven't, you know, been fully immersed in the sport for a while, but even the commentators are saying it. I thought he did a pretty solid job. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
You know, for his level, you know, it was one of those questions where you have to wonder, like, is Jake Paul that good, or is Tommy Fury not as good as he thinks? But if you're talking about Jake Paul, a guy who's been boxing probably less than 5 years, and he's beaten former world champions, he's beaten pro athletes, and now he's beating pro boxers, or at least like split decision loss to a pro boxer, like when when freaking Tyson Fury is the best in the world. Like, wild. Come on, man. You know, you got to give him a little bit of credit. And the biggest part of it, he handled himself like a true professional. He took that loss on the chin.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm just going to get better. This is going to make me a better man, a better fighter. I love that. So, you know what? Again, love him, hate him. He's doing the right things, and he's bringing eyes to the sport. So I'm all about it.
Yeah, I think like someone like a CM Punk and, you know, Jake Paul, you have to give them props to even doing it. You know, to even getting in the ring and, you know, risking that. Maybe they need the money, maybe they don't. I don't know their finances, but to the eye, it seems like they don't need the money. So them to do that, I mean, you know, I think it's you have to give credit to them for sure.
Listen, how many billion people are on this planet, and how many people actually step in there and fight? You know, probably less than 1 million actually get to compete on a big stage. We're the 1%. You know, so if you got the balls to get in there and do it and risk your not only your life, like, let's be real, you can die. People have 100%. Died in combat sports, but you're risking your reputation. You're risking your presence to be judged. You're putting yourself out there for the entire billions of people on the planet to see. You know, that's got to stand for something.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah. My guy right here, though, Ross Sherwood, is undefeated 7-0. So you have not come across this issue yet. But does that thought process ever come across your mind when you step in the ring? You're like, today I can get embarrassed. Or is that something that can't process through your mind? Like, you're just going there full confidence, or does that sometimes come across your mind where you're like, you know what, I might get knocked out tonight?
Yeah, so yes and no. So I do have that conversation with myself every time I saw it on the dotted line. You know, it's that conversation of like, do I really want to, is this really what I love? And the answer's always been, yep, we're doing it, sign away. But you have to be real with yourself. And like, some people call me crazy about that, but I have vivid dreams of losing, of getting knocked out. I think if you're a combat fighter, you have those. If everyone that does a combat sport, if they say they've never thought that or never had that fear, they're straight up lying to you. Straight up lying. You're about to get into a fist fight. It's the same thing as saying, meet me in the parking lot at 3 o'clock. We're going to fight.
You know, you're going to be overthinking it. You're
going to be shitting your pants the whole day, right? So, yeah, I mean, there are levels to it. And but as the event gets closer and closer, my confidence goes up, my fears go away, and all that happens through preparation. So, yeah, I mean, I understand that that's potential. You know, anyone can get knocked out.
Yeah.
You know, so it is what it is.
Do you think like you guys are like the modern day like gladiators of this, you know, like of this
era?
Treated
that way, right? Yeah,
it's
we're treated that way for sure.
You go to a Coliseum, you guys come out one by one.
Yeah,
everyone's going to you. You have your own theme music. You know, I'm not sure is it like that in Karate Combat? Do you have your own theme music?
They just started implementing walkout music. Yeah.
Oh, fire! What's gonna be yours?
Ooh, so I'm kind of stuck between a couple right now, but I'm really.
I can cut this out if you don't want to.
No.
Spoil it.
You're good. No, it's not a spoiler. So I'm obviously a New Yorker. One of my dreams is to fight in MSG, and I want to walk out to New York State of Mind. But since it's not MSG, since it's not New York State of Mind, that one. French Montana did a New York State of Mind remix, so I'm thinking about hitting that in Miami.
Jerry, hear this, baby. Jerry and David.
Oh, they're big French
haters.
Fans? Oh,
haters. I'm like, bro, French.
Honestly, I'm not a huge French Montana fan. I like his music, but he's not like, I'm not going to go search for a French Montana playlist. But when I was looking it up, I'm like, oh, I really want to hit this New York State of Mind. And French Montana's got a pretty dope remix.
Yeah,
so check it out.
It's pretty good. Yeah. One thing that always gets to me, and like especially for boxers when they come out, is Jadakiss. The champ is here. Like when John Jones came out to that the other day, I'm like, oh. But that's a different type of like cocky though. You got to come out. You got to be the man if you're rocking that one though. Well, but I mean, it's 7-0. So I mean, you can put that, you think about it.
Every some people do the same walkout music for all of their fights. All of their fights. Some people are just they like one song. That's it. A lot of people do like Johnny Cash. They'll do like House of the Rising Sun. You know, stuff like that. My boy Rob Font, who's actually fighting at the UFC event the following weekend as me.
Fire.
He always walks out to Welcome to Jamrock. That's his thing. That's what he does. It's fire. You hear that song, you know, oh, Rob's coming out right now. I do it differently. I like to hit, you know, it's based on feel, right? Because sometimes I'm feeling different moods. My playlist changes, you know, sometimes on the weekly, on the daily. So a lot of times I like to give a little bit of credit to the city I'm in. So like I fought in Dubai and I came out to Purple Lamborghini.
That's dope.
So yeah, I fought in Miami before I came out to Trick Daddy. So I do it all, man. I try and give little throwbacks because you want to attract people in the stands, right? That like maybe don't know me, but they're like, oh, he gave a shout out to Miami, you know. Yeah, so
man. Like, you know, like you're in Canada and you put Drake on, you're like, oh, who's this guy shouting out?
Exactly. And I'm gonna have a big crowd from New York there. So I think the New York state of mind's gonna hit well.
Oh, that's really fire, man. So you know, you're traveling, you're doing all these things. So like, was this like always part of the plan? Like, you know how, say, you hear Kobe Bryant's story, LeBron's story. Oh, when I was a kid, I knew I was going to be a basketball player. It was, I had a basketball in my hand when I was 3 years old. You know, that story of, you know, of the Kobe's, the LeBrons. Is that still like a part of your family as well? Like where you're just like, this was instilled in you from the jump? Not
really. You know, my dad was a martial artist. I had no intentions of doing martial arts. This is not the path that I thought I was going to take. I thought I was going to be a baseball player. I remember days with a baseball practicing my autograph on a baseball. So that's what I used to do. I used to always just practice. And then like I thought I was good, and then I tried out for like the high school baseball team, and I was terrible. I was good in like the schoolyard, but I wasn't that level. So it was like, all right, maybe I need to reevaluate where I'm at.
You got to a fight with somebody about baseball, and you're like, all right, I'm doing that.
There it is. Yeah, the skill came out. But no, I started martial arts. My brother jumped into it first. You know, my brother was getting like bullied a little bit, so he went into martial arts, and he actually won a trophy at like a little inter-school tournament. And I was like, ooh, I want the trophy. So, you know, I would put it next to my bed when he would fall asleep. And my dad's like, oh, you won't. I was addicted to the competition. I wanted the competition. So that's kind of how I got started. And even then, it was never like I had these dreams of grandeur that I was going to be this crazy world champion. I just wanted to be good. I wanted to be competitive. I wanted to challenge myself. And I guess that's kind of what makes me dangerous is I don't really care to be what people think or anything like that. You know, now I have, you know, obviously a status to uphold, but I just want to consistently challenge myself against the best in the world and see, all right, where do I measure?
For sure.
You know, and for me, it's all here. It's all internal.
I mean, it all started like even you to get to this next chapter was just conquering the next, you know, level of your life. So never mind, now you're in it, you're thriving. You're probably just, you know, in your blood right now. You're just like, I gotta, you know, conquer the next challenge.
Yeah.
So part of this is, does this like, is there like levels where like now like the XFL is like underneath to kind of like the NFL? It's like, you know, obviously, you know, like the G League's under, you know, NBA. Is this like under like UFC or under like Bellator? Is there like a kind of like a level where you go like trajectory wise?
No. So Karate Combat is the premier league for combat athletes that have a karate background. So this is the first and the only, well, I shouldn't say the only, there's probably a couple offshoots in other countries and stuff, but worldwide, globally, this is the only and the best and the biggest and the most professional martial arts full contact league. That's why it was built. A lot of it got started because you look at like karate in the Olympics and you're not allowed to knock people out. The whole purpose of like point karate is you need to be able to demonstrate your one shot that would potentially, you know, injure someone, kill them, whatever, stop them in their tracks. And that's what you generate points for. But you're not actually allowed to deliver it with that devastating power. So they were thinking about it and they were like, you know what? We need to make a league where we can actually do that. So now they built Karate Combat and it's been brewing for the last couple of years. And now they're in season, well, now it's not seasons anymore, but this is going to be their 38th, 39th episode where they're running these shows now, and it's going to be dope. So this is the premier league. So you look at like mixed martial arts and there's UFC Bellator One Championship. There's those three. With professional martial arts, Karate Combat is the only one. It's number one.
Well, no, I mean, I'm pretty into like in tune with sports, and I never heard this, so this definitely gonna be a reel to try to get out to the masses. And obviously you guys are building up, and do you think is that something you guys face right now? Is just trying to get the word out right now?
Yeah, that's kind of where it's at. They're starting to get some other fighters that have big media presence. Their social media presence is really good, so they have some different guys that formerly they were in the UFC that now they're not anymore, and now they're a free agent, so they have a martial arts background. They're coming over and fighting in Karate Combat, so they're not poaching fighters from other leagues, but as their contracts expire, if this is something they're interested in and they have a martial arts background, boom, it's a cool avenue for them. And the rule set's a little different. The arena is different. So it's very, very unique.
Yeah, I watched a couple of videos of you earlier, and I definitely seen it definitely stands out as well. It's a different setup, and that like the slanted edges like definitely pops out opposed to like the typical octagon or WWE ring. Definitely it's not like you're trying to copy them. Yeah. And so like what would be like the kind of the biggest differences? So someone who is seeing John Jones, they watched John Jones last week. What would be the biggest differences from a UFC typical fight to a karate combat sport?
Really just the rule set, so there's no submission grappling. So the fact that John Jones was able to submit Cyril Gane, that's, there is no grappling. You can still sweep, throw, take down, things like that. But you can ground and pound for 5 seconds and then they stand you right back up. So there's a lot of people out there, like for the casual fans that watch this, that, that like MMA, but hate when it goes to the ground because either, you don't understand what's going on or you think it's boring or whatever. That doesn't exist in Karate Combat. It's 5 seconds only striking when they're on the ground, and then you got to get back up and fight. So it's a striker's league. This is built for action. The rule set is built for action. It's dynamic. There's a couple things that you can't do. So you can't use your elbows and you can't throw kicks to the thigh. You can still kick the calf, the body, the head, obviously. But yeah, knockouts are also incentivized. So you get paid more. It's not just like bonus, like knockout of the night. They have that too. But every fighter on the roster, if you knock someone out, you get a bonus. Wow. So it's incentivized, and like you see, it comes out in the fights, man. It's action, straight up action, start to finish. And you can use the walls. So when someone's has their back to the wall, they're considered a standing opponent. So there's no 5-second count. You can throw anything, knees, kicks, spinning kicks, whatever. Damn. And you knock people out. That's how the guy that I'm fighting now is actually a rematch. We fought for the title contendership, and I beat him with the spinning kick when he was against the wall.
I seen that.
So this is a rematch for the title. Since then, he had a great knockout in his last fight. I won the world championship in my last fight, and now he's kind of back, and we'll run it back again.
Hey, that's gonna be a good one right there for sure. And people who are interested in watching that, how are they able to watch that? Is there like an app? Is it on pay-per-view? What's like the avenues to watch these fights, the Karate Combat sport?
Right now is the time to get into it because it's all free. It's free on YouTube. So they're going to run it live on YouTube. It is also a live event, so you can buy tickets. So if you're in the Miami area or if you just want to take a trip to Miami, there's nothing better than going down to Miami, see some fights.
Dolphin season ticket holder, baby.
There you go.
They're all the time, man. They're all the time.
Yeah. So it's live event. And I'll promise you this from a fan, because I've been to a couple of the other live shows that I wasn't competing on, and it is the craziest experience. Like, I've been to UFC events, I've been to boxing, I've been to kickboxing and all that stuff. And, you go to an MMA event, the cage is in the way. You go to a boxing event, the ring is in the way. So you end up looking at the screens more than you actually look at the fight because you can't see everything. All the fights, like, you can see literally everything in the pit because it's sunken in and it's all stands. So you see directly into the pit. That's cool. There's no bad seat. It's unreal.
That's cool. Yeah, so, like, this can be like your full time. I mean, this is like your full time job also with your Turbo Sports Performance. So, say someone didn't have their own place, is this like obtainable where you're like where you're like a John Jones? I know there's even pay discrepancies in UFC, but is there like you can do this for your full time job, you're training and you're making money to where you're in the Karate Combat sports?
I don't think so yet. I think it's getting there. Like I said, there's definitely incentives. And if you're going out and knocking everybody out and you're on a good pay structure and you've been around for a little bit, then yeah. But, it's still a relatively new, fight organization. So no, I would go ahead and say no. Like, this is not something I would recommend doing full time. But it's growing that way, and it's growing rapidly. So I think in the next 5 years, you're going to see that where, maybe it's equal, if not better than I know for me, example, like, I'm not going to share exactly what my numbers are, but I get paid better than some UFC fighters.
Yeah, I heard the UFC is not good unless you're like John Jones or like.
In comparison to what? The regional scene?
I
would much rather be in the UFC getting, I think the starting pay in the UFC is like 8,000 and 8,000. So you get like eight to show, 8 to win. That's a hell of a lot better. You're probably not even making $1,000 on the regional scene unless you're getting sponsorships.
Yeah.
So
I'm, again, speaking from, outsider kind of looking in, I'm like NFL, NBA, I know numbers.
Yeah.
So like UFC, I don't know numbers. So what are like some common misconceptions you think, there is of like even being like a combat sports fighter? Like, is there like when you walk into a bar and people are like, oh, that's Ross, he's like this, or oh, that guy does MMA, they're like this? Is there like common misconceptions amongst in the scene, the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone, when you think of like a UFC fighter or a karate combat superstar or whatever, you think we're all tough guys, like. And maybe we are in some degree. Certainly, we obviously have to be. But personality-wise, like most people would never know. If we were just sitting in a conversation, I never told you I was a combat athlete, that's probably the last thing you'd think I am, just from the way I carry myself.
Yeah.
I'm kind of fun-loving. I have a good attitude. Like I try and just be pretty chill all the time. So yeah, I mean, I think usually you see the cauliflower ear, right? You see the guys with the crinkled up ears and stuff.
I was
and
waiting
you're
for you.
like,
Yeah,
man, I'm walking away from that guy. It's just like everyone thinks they think that they're like greater than thou. So and that's not just all the case. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you get guys that abuse their power like anybody else. But no, I think for the most part, that's the biggest misconception, that we're all kind of like jerks, and the men are womanizers, the women are just like gym whores. It's like the stupid stuff, but. Real recognize real, right? So people who know, no, that's not the case.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I feel like that is a big one though. Like, and it's like those one or two cases where it gets like known, where it's like I forget who his name was, but I remember he used to date the porn star Chrissy Mack. He like beat her up, and that like went everywhere. Yeah. And it's like people like that make it. That's the reason why. But it's like not everyone's gonna be like that. Like, what I'm saying? Like there's people in NFL and NBA who have those cases, but it's like all right, that dude's like what, one of a million. Yeah. Like it's one of a million cases.
It happens, man.
And it's definitely definitely unfortunate. I was going through your Instagram, and I see here the number one thing that popped up. So obviously there's injuries and everything. Mm-hmm. And here you said that a popular one is meniscus injuries. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we can get a little teaser here. This probably come out after you probably post that clip. So, but so like, why is like meniscus such a prevalent injury amongst the combat sports?
Yeah, awesome question. I just posted that video today.
Go check it out.
Boom.
Check it out.
Well, I don't know when this is going to air, but
I'll do it next week before your fight.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, whoever sees this eventually, go back, see the meniscus video.
I got you. Look right here.
Boom. There we go. Okay.
I had this up right here.
Nice. All right. In case you didn't know, there it is.
Okay,
Bang.
This one here?
That's the one. Yep.
This is an Instagram video, and
yeah. So basically, this is a cool video. It's a slideshow, right? So there's the first slide is really just talking about like what the meniscus is. Basically it's a structure. Most people don't know you actually have two in each knee. We think it's just like one big thing. It's like a shock absorber. It's a cushion. Think about brake pads. There you go.
They're right here.
So there you got these two brake pads basically, and then if you get a tear in one of them, that's what it looks like in the cross section.
Where?
Yeah.
Oh, right here, right here.
Exactly.
It's right underneath you, right here, baby.
Yep. So it's kind of like if you're, the bones are one on top of the other. Your thigh bone is here, your shin bone is here. Boom. Then in the middle, you've got these two discs that are shock protectors, and they're cushions, right? So your knee works like a hinge, and then something goes wrong, you twist the wrong way, you kind of shear that little tear, and it causes pain. Very common in combat sports because we're always doing different things, whether we're making contact with the bag, someone's kicking your knee, right? You're grappling, you're jamming your knee into the ground, someone twists it. It's like anything can happen, right? So it's one of those first level injuries that a lot of combat athletes end up having. And the old school method was, well, I have a tear in my meniscus, I'm going to go to a doctor. The doctor's going to tell me to get surgery, they're going to snip it, and then we can just keep about our business. That they've found with research now is actually the worst thing you can do. And sometimes it's necessary, but only in the worst case scenario, right? So a lot of times now they're seeing with research that proper strength training, flexibility, a little bit of mobility training, hip stabilization, can take pressure and offload that, and you can get back to business, pretty much without surgery.
Yeah, so I think everyone knows who Tom Brady is, the TB12 method. So this is the RT method, baby.
That's it.
The RT method. So that's the meniscus little snippet right there. And I see here you also had a clip about elderly versus athletes. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about that right now. There's new research happening all the time, and my brother went to Hendricken. That's pretty known at this point, and they had like a sports doctor always there. And I'm at St. Ray's, so it was all good. I got injured there twice, but we did not have the same like doctors on the sideline. Yeah. And my brother he broke his wrist, and he forget what else happened to him, but whatever. I was like, wow, this like level of like doctor's different. Like they're not telling him to do the specific random things they're telling everybody to do. Do you think that's like a big, huge issue amongst like sports and obviously for you, karate combat issues, where it's like, all right, you broke your elbow, just do this, the same things you're seeing, like you said in your video, the 70-year-old patient doing as well?
Yeah, I mean, athletes in general go through this, unless you're part of a very popular, like very big, well-funded sports team that has their own specialists involved. Most high school athletes, they get injured, they go to their primary care, then they go to they go to an orthopedic surgeon, and then they get told what to do. But most of the physical therapy they get is like this broad spectrum. They go to a regular PT gym that, their insurance covers for whatever reason. And, they end up getting someone, maybe they play their sport, maybe they've had experience with it, maybe not. Most of the time not. It's very rare to find a specialist. So what happens? You get this kind of cookie cutter program to cross your fingers and like, I hope they get better. And unfortunately, I've been there, right? I've been that PT who was just able, because I didn't have the time and I didn't have the specialty. Like, am I a long distance runner? No, but I was working with them. So I would do my very best to try and study and read up on stuff and find the right things to do. But there's no way that I'm going to do a better job with a long distance runner than a PT who is a long distance runner. And then think about, what about a long distance runner who's a champion, a world champion? So that's why like I decided to start Turbo Sports Performance and really deliver like high quality, the highest quality of care for combat athletes all around the world. So that's why I do what I do.
So does that cover every combat sport? Like you can do like a UFC guy, you can do a Bellator guy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, listen, I'm not a mixed martial arts fighter. So I've wrestled a little bit. I've done some jiu-jitsu a little bit. My forte is striking, but my strength coach is a jiu-jitsu player. He's wrestled as well. So my strength coach and myself are the two coaches in my program. So we can cover all the bases, but you also got to think about being relatable, right? So yes, I work with a couple high-profile athletes. I've worked with world champion boxers. I'm working with higher level, local, regional, professional mixed martial artists that are going out there and winning titles and stuff. So yeah, and then kickboxers, martial artists all over the world, highest level sport karate fighters. So yeah, it's relatable because not only do they know that, hey, he's a doctor of physical therapy, he knows what he's talking about. Not only does he have experience in martial arts, but he's a world champion and he's currently doing it. So if anyone is going to tell you what to do to get back on the, back on the mats and training, it's me, because I know what needs to be done. I know how we need to go about it.
So like say, quarterback from Providence High School reaches out to you, would you just be like, hey man, this isn't probably the best fit for you, or are you gonna take anybody in, or are you like kind of sticking to what you're saying, where you're just like, no, I kind of just stick to the combat guys?
Yeah, I would say like I do have a few clients, and there's a couple of exceptions that I'll make. Really, because I want to make sure that people are getting the best quality of care. So if it's something that I have experience with, I've worked with a lot of football players in my past. At the last clinic I was at, we actually started an ACL program. So we saw a lot of different high school athletes, college athletes that tore their ACLs. So that's something I have a lot of experience with as well. So, I do have a couple of ACL clients that I'm working with that are not martial artists. So I would say the majority, if I had to put a percentage on it, probably 95 to 98% of my clientele are martial artists or combat athletes. So that ranges from recreational people that just like to do it, to martial arts instructors, to competitive athletes, amateur, professional, all that.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So is your world like strictly just all around like combat sports? Like, are you just watching boxing, UFC, karate combat, or are you like into like NBA, NFL, the sports as well?
I'm a big NFL fan. I'm actually a Cowboys fan. I know you mentioned the Dolphins.
Hey.
We're both in the same boat.
Oh my God, man.
It's tough, man.
My best friend El Ray, shout out to El Ray, is a Cowboys fan as well.
Okay.
So I always have this thing with him. I have a couple Cowboys shirts. I don't know why, but I do. And I'll bust his balls like, oh, we lost again.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know what you guys are going to do, man. Dak, I tell El Ray, I'm like, all right, man, at what point are you going to give up on Dak?
So,
at what point are you giving up on Dak?
So I'll tell you what. I'm going to be very honest and I'm going to keep it real. I actually like Dak. When you look at Dak's numbers across the board since he's came into the NFL, he's been a top 5 quarterback. He's a fantastic quarterback. Now, the guy that I could not stand is Kellen Moore. I could not stand the offensive coordinator. Could not stand him. Everyone was making him out to be this genius, super whiz. He's the prodigy. He was terrible. Terrible.
Wow.
He makes terrible decisions. He overcomplicates the system. And like, yeah, you had that string where Dak was throwing interceptions, but if I'm a bystander and like, I never played football. I love it. I love the game. I understand it very well, but I never played. If I can guess sitting on my couch what they're going to do next, that's a problem.
That is a problem.
Right?
For sure.
So, like, you have all the talent in the world on your team. You got one of the best offensive lines, one of the top running backs, now top 2 running backs. You got a CeeDee Lamb, top receiver, one of the best tight ends. And we just come up short. It's game management and poor offensive play calling. Yeah, there's no reason why we can't put up 40 points every game.
It's not.
You know, so now Kellen Moore's gone. Happy about that. Quarterback's coach is gone. Happy about that. Now we're going to see what Dak is about.
Yeah.
So we give Dak another 1 or 2 years, in my opinion.
I would say 1. I would say
1
like
to 2.
1. Yeah, like
1 to 2.
I guess who's out there is better, but that argument is like, okay, well, the Patriots could have said the same thing about Drew Bledsoe. Well, who's better? Well, you had a guy who was better right behind him, but if you didn't give him a chance, you would have known just because you would have given him Drew Brees Bledsoe another year. Bledsoe another year, or 1 more year. No one's better. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, you guys are playing pretty well with I'm blanking his name right now.
Romo.
No, the backup for
Dak. Cooper Rush.
I'm not saying he's better than Dak.
He's not.
But
not even close.
I'm saying like if you have someone like a Brady, like who knows if you don't give him that chance though.
Yeah, but you know what too though, like the Cowboys have been, it's a rock and a hard place. Like we're good enough where we're almost there. We're like 1 step away from being there, but we're not bad enough to be in the market for one of those top quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So it's like we're really in no position. We're definitely not trading up to get a quarterback. You know what I mean? Like we're not in that position. We don't need it that badly. You know, do we spend, honestly, we shouldn't be spending money on quarterback right now. That's not what they need to build from the ground up. We need to keep drafting well. I would love to see them go pick up, an OBJ or, like a DeAndre Hopkins if we can get him relatively cheap,
Yeah, man, you guys essentially are in the same spots of Dolphins. Every year is our year. Every year is our year. They reel the fan base in. You get caught, and you're like, motherfucker.
Well, I mean, you guys did look really good, and just Tua can't
stay healthy, bro. He needs you. He needs you.
I would love to work with Tua.
Although,
I have some experience with concussion, but I am not a concussion specialist. That's scary, man.
Yeah.
The doctors, if he has to retire in the next 5 years, you got to look at those doctors and be like, you guys messed up. Yeah, that's terrible, man.
Apparently, they're doing their due diligence, but it's like,
come on.
Did you see that he's doing Taekwondo now? Did you see that?
Well, yeah, his reaction. He's got to get his reaction.
To prevent his concussion. Stamina. I don't know what you're
He's probably going to be working on his hand-eye coordination, his timing, his body awareness, like the ability to move better in the pocket, to avoid contact, things like that. Because Taekwondo is so fast.
Yeah.
But also it's a lot of like hand-eye. It's a lot of muscular coordination, and and the guy, like, and not for nothing, but every time he falls, he like has no head control.
It's just ridiculous.
His head just bounces off.
It is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Like the play in the Bengals game, obviously
the second concussion, right?
Yeah, second concussion. Obviously, it is a bad play, but that play should have never happened.
Yeah.
Before it happened, I'm watching, biggest Cowboys fan in the world. He rolls to the pocket. There is no one near him for like 15 yards. Yeah. I'm like, bro, throw the ball away.
Throw the ball away.
Throw the ball away, run out of bounds, slide, something. No, this motherfucker rolls back in
into
to the line.
all the people.
Into all the people. I'm like, how the fuck did you didn't feel that coming?
And then the other thing too is like just there's no body control. Like every time Tua gets tackled,
boom,
he's like a baby that just was that was just born. Like zero head control. He just slams his head into the floor. And like, it just sucks, man. He's so talented, and you see what happens when he's healthy.
Bro,
but
top 6 offense without him for like 7 games. Imagine they had him for all 7 games.
All right, so is Brady coming out of retirement? That was the talk today on Fantasy Force Sports Radio. So I don't know, Brady out of retirement. Is that what you want?
He claims no, but I don't want it. Right. I would have wanted it when he went to Tampa before. Obviously, we got fucked over the whole Brian Flores thing.
Yeah.
But I already know the Dolphins' luck. He would come out of retirement. He would suck. We would trade Tua to the Lions, and then he'd be the next Drew Brees. He would go nuts. No. I already know how that shit would go down.
So what are you guys going to do?
Apparently, they're sticking with them. You know,
but I mean, what do you want to see?
I definitely want to see the defense. Obviously, now we got Vance Joseph, so that's the turnaround. We have the young defensive players there. We have Holland, Phillips. We have Baker. We got Bradley Chubb. So we have defensive key playmakers. They needed the right defensive coordinator. Obviously, now hopefully they have them. Now they just need to stock up on their line. Stock up on their line. Get that one dude at running back. Obviously, receivers. I mean, come on, top receiver duo in the league.
Yeah, they're talking about maybe Kareem Hunt.
That'd be ideal. I mean, that'd be ideal. I mean, I like Mostert as like a 2. But he also doesn't stay healthy. So it's like, bro, come on. We keep getting these guys. You have to stock up on the line.
Can you trust Kareem Hunt in Miami?
Oh, my God, dude. I don't know. That's probably why he wants to go there.
I know, man.
But we need, Armstead needs to stay healthy. We need a line and like a back over line. That's what we need. That's the main thing, especially being, especially with Buffalo's defense is elite. Yeah. Elite. Jets defense is elite. Pass defense is always good. So, we're in, one of the toughest divisions, defensive-wise.
Crazy.
So,
you went from one of the worst divisions because it was Patriots all day long. No one was even close to now, so competitive. So competitive. And,
Think Aaron Rodgers?
I was just going to say that.
Aaron Rodgers? Come on, man.
I was just going to say that. If that goes through, I mean, I don't know.
This would be good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Jets were good with freaking Mike White, man. They almost made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Joe Flacco,
imagine.
Who's in a better position? Who would you rather have, Dak or Mike White? Don't even think about that.
Obviously
you can't even think about
Dak,
that.
Obviously.
Of course, yeah. But it's who would you rather have, Dak or Tua?
I said this to Elray the other day. If Dak did shit the bed again, would you rather have Tua? And he's like, no, I was sticking with Dak. I'm like, bro.
I would too. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Cowboys fan. Who would you rather have, Dak or Garoppolo?
I would rather have Dak.
Garoppolo or Tua?
I would have Tua. I think they're both equally injury prone. At least Tua can light it up. Garoppolo's really a system guy. They utilize him pretty well in San Fran. So I think Tua's kind of silenced those haters. If you still say that, you're just a Tua hater at this point. Tua's shown he can light it up down the field. It's just the staying healthy part. If you can stay healthy, he's there. It's just he has shown he cannot stay healthy.
True. All right, last comparison, then we can move on. Because I think Dak and Tua are in the same tier.
They are.
They're in the same tier.
They're the same tier.
It's just
Dak's
preference.
More healthy. And it's preference and system.
Sometimes he's more healthy. Yeah. He's not always more healthy. All right, but the last person in that kind of similar tier that could maybe change the offense, would you rather have Tua or Derek Carr?
Tua.
All right, Dak or Derek Carr, because they're a little bit more similar. Tua's more mobile, so I agree there. Dak or Derek Carr?
Dak.
Yeah,
Dak.
I think so too. But they're close.
Derek Carr has shown he can't do anything.
Well,
he's a good NFL quarterback. Should he be on a team? Yes. Is he going to? Can you depend on him? No. You cannot depend on him. Can he have that one game, the 8 games a season? Yeah. But can you trust him to build around? Obviously, the Raiders are just fuck no.
Well, see, I'm a bigger believer in the coaching staff makes the players, not the players make the team. So, you look at, did Derek Carr ever do anything with the Raiders? No, but why? So he had zero talent around him forever. Zero talent. They finally get talent in Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs, and they get a first-year head coach with McDaniels, who's a systems guy. He never tried to scheme Devontae open. How do you not utilize that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
good point. But yeah,
I think Derek Carr is going to light it up in New Orleans. I think he's going to be great.
I think they overpaid him a little bit.
They definitely overpaid him.
They need to give. He better give them MVP card.
But you know what? They're just going to be calling, like, Chris Olave is just going to be running flies all day. And then Michael Thomas is excited about it. Like, if he comes back,
that motherfucker stays healthy.
Yeah, if he stays healthy, he'll be great. But like the Saints, now all of a sudden you're like,
and
Derek Carr's a fantasy quarterback.
100%. In that division?
Yeah.
In that division all day.
It's winnable. So you never know, man. It's going to be interesting to see.
I mean, yeah, definitely says some things too. Like, that's like when Russell Wilson went to the Broncos and then you knew what you got in him. No, you're running a different system.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
You know what you're getting. I just don't get, like, you being a coach, do you have one specific way you do everybody?
You can't. You have to, like, I have a certain style that I like to employ. But, you know, the way I fight is predicated off of my frame, my body, my attributes, right? And my brain. You know, not everyone thinks the same way I do. Not everyone has the limb size, the leg strength, the endurance, the durability. So everyone's different. We got a kid in our gym, Evan. He's tall, lanky. He needs to learn how to be long. I'm not going to have him fight inside and work like the short range techniques. And then I've got another kid, Lewis, who's short, stocky. He throws good hard kicks. He's great getting inside, getting under people. So, like, yes, in a system, there's a system to break down, like, okay, we all need to have good footwork. We all have to have good IQ. We have to understand the game, what you can and can't do. But then individually, I have to coach them based on their attributes, the intangibles, right?
Yeah, I feel like they did not for Russell Wilson.
No.
At all.
Zero.
And you said that, and everyone has your same attributes and what you're doing. So, funny question I like to ask people on the podcast. Attributes. So, would you rather face one horse-sized duck or 50 duck-sized horses? They have the same attributes, though. So you're facing now 50 duck-sized horses that can jump 8 feet in the air. They can run 40 miles an hour. They're all attacking you at the same time.
Yeah.
Or you're facing one horse-sized duck.
I'm going to take the 50 small ones.
50 small ones. Wow.
I'm going to take the 50
I'm always intrigued when people say this. What's your game plan on that?
Yeah. So I've never heard it as a duck, but I'm much less threatened by a duck. I've always heard it as a horse-sized chicken or chicken-sized horses. So when I think of, and I'm going to give you both. So I'll give you the chicken one first. A horse-sized chicken, you know how big those talons are going to be?
They're going to be small. They're like the feet?
A horse-sized chicken?
Oh, a horse-sized chicken.
The claws on that thing?
A horse-sized chicken is going to be huge.
Claws, I'm not touching that thing, right? So you give me the 50 little chicken-sized horses, and I'll deal with them, right? It's the same thing. Now you're talking a duck that doesn't have any of that. A duck has a softer beak, and it's got a little, what do you even call them? Flippers?
Yeah,
Paddles?
whatever.
The web feet.
Web feet. Yeah,
they don't have claws or anything like that. They're not angry animals.
So would you rather face
give me the horse-sized duck?
The horse-sized.
The horse-sized duck. Or I'm sorry, the duck-sized horse.
The duck-sized horse. Yeah.
Yeah. Give me the little baby horses. Punt those things.
Dude, they're gonna kick the shit out of you though.
Ducks are this big.
Yeah, but they're a horse. They can still kick the shit out of you. There's 50 of them.
Yeah, but they don't have the same strength as a real live horse.
No, they don't. I'm saying they have the same attributes.
Oh, then yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They have the same attributes.
So wait, does the horse-sized duck have duck attributes?
Yeah. It's just a huge duck.
I'll take that duck out, man.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm taking
that duck out.
Okay.
Especially
that's a very different
choking that shit out.
That's a very different question.
Right? It's a different question. Yeah, it's the same attributes. It's just fucking bigger.
Yeah. No. But that's the thing. Like, if you're telling me that duck has the power of a horse, no shot.
Yeah.
I think it's one little flip of its beak, and I'm out of there.
Yeah, no, you're tossing that shit. Yeah. No, 50 of them at the same time? Hell no.
Yeah.
My brother asked me a funny one on the podcast. I never heard this one before in my life. He said, would you rather face a rooster? Every time you open your car door or anything in your car, you have to fight a rooster. Every time. Or would you rather fight a chimpanzee with a sword?
God. A rooster every time I open the door.
Every time.
Easily. Yeah. Easily.
Choking that shit. I'm breaking his neck.
Come on, man.
Breaking his damn
Chimpanzees
neck.
are so strong. And I give him a sword? Come on, get out of here.
Dude, his boy said he would face a chimpanzee. I'm like, you out of your fucking mind?
So I'll give you a good one. Shout out to my buddy Mike LaFave. He's one of the head coaches over at Olympia Sports and Performance. Fitness and Performance, excuse me. It's a good strength gym here in Cranston.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Good people. But yeah, so I actually used to work there. So yeah, Mike LaFave asked me one time. We used to do this all the time in the gym. We had like a whiteboard and we would do all these challenges. So shout out to Mike for this one. I hope I'm getting it right. Would you rather be attacked by every dog that you see or every bird that sees you?
Every dog that I see.
Ooh, not me.
I don't see that many dogs a day. Actually, I kind of do.
All right, but think about this, right? Every dog that you see, as soon as you see it, it's turning on you and it's coming after you. But or would you rather be attacked by every bird that sees you?
Think about how many birds are looking at me.
How many birds can look at you?
It's so far up in the air.
And like, how can you predict when they're going to come? I'd rather fight every dog than every bird. That's just me personally. I think I'm sticking with my answer. I said the dog. Yeah, I think. Okay. I mean, realistically, you're gonna just punt that dog. It's coming at you. I mean, if it's like a pit bull, Rottweiler, Great Dane.
Oh yeah, but maybe.
What if you unnowingly walked past a dog park? you're in some deep shit.
I think either way you're thinking about it, you're probably getting rocked either way.
Yeah,
either way.
But I'd rather. But you know what? I'd rather see him coming.
That's true. Bird right behind.
We're also talking. I mean, this is every bird, right? Every dog, but every bird. We're talking eagles, hawks. Right. I gotta show you a picture on my phone afterwards. I was with Maddie a couple days ago, and we were driving past. You know the little pathway between where they're building Topgolf over
here? Yep.
So in between that little strip, like behind Shaw's and Target and all that stuff, there was a hawk chewing on a dead rabbit. Oh
shit!
And this thing was like, it wasn't huge, but it was like, that's not a pigeon. You know what I mean? That's not a crow. Like this thing, it's just thick and like, oh my God, it was crazy. First time I seen one that close.
Speaking of a hawk, actually a hawk's not on here, but this is like a funny one I seen on Twitter the other day. You have to pick two to defend you. No double dipping. Okay. Did you see this?
I did. So a buddy of my friend sent it to me.
Yeah, the rest are coming to kill you.
Okay.
10,000 rats. Yep. 50 eagles. Oh, eagles down here. 15 wolves. 10 crocodiles. 7 bulls. 5 gorillas. 4 lions. 3 bears and 1 rifleman named Festus.
So I took a buddy of mine sent this to me. I already know my answer. I want the 5 gorillas and the 3 bears.
5 gorillas and the 3 bears.
Yeah. And his thing was like, bro, 10,000 rats. But all right, but check this out, right? So let's think about this. We got 50. Think about all the other things that, yeah, they're coming to kill me, but naturally are going to kill those rats. Eagles, they're going right for the rats. Like, yes, they want to kill me, but they're also going to kill the rats. So, like, you got to wipe out a couple of them. The one that I saw was more than this. There were more options.
These are a lot of fucking options.
But you think about 7 bulls. Like, how many rats are going to die because they get stepped on by the bulls?
That's true. Well, I think they're coming out like a team. Like, it's like 2 are defending you, and the rest are like a team. They're like Marvel. They're like the Avengers. They're coming to kill you.
Yeah, but there's got to be like there's friendly fire. First of all, like the rifleman, like it's going to take him a while to shoot, you know, and like. You shoot 1 bear. Did you see that video that Rogan reposted from Nature is Metal of the brown bear? How big that freaking bear is? Dude. And like, I was just talking about this with bears. I was up in Canada last week training, and the guy hunts and he's like killed bears and stuff. He's like, they're the most unbelievably fast. Like, you have no idea how big and how fast they are. And like one swipe, you know, they say one swipe of a brown bear can break the spine of a moose.
Oh shit!
Come on, I want 3 of them. I want 3 of them.
And the 5 gorillas.
And 5 gorillas, dude. Like silverback gorillas. Have you seen those things?
I have not. Come on, person. Man. I have not personally. I mean,
never been to the zoo.
Oh yeah, no. Right. And San Diego's are massive, bro. Yeah, they're massive.
Massive.
I mean, and if they're defending you, they're gonna get close to you. They're gonna feel some same way about you.
A nice big wall. I got my bears, my gorillas. I'm good. And then me, I'm a freaking world champion.
Someone's like the 10 crocodiles. I'm like, bro, come on.
They're so small. They're lean, right? They can't even create a wall to protect me.
You're fighting one of these things? Which one of these would you rather fight if you had to pick? You're picking one, like just one. I mean, I'll get the rats out of it.
Oh, like, all right. So if I had to pick,
like the wolf,
if I had to fight 1 eagle, wolf, crocodile, bull, gorilla, lion, bear.
There's one-on-one and fuck Festus too, not Festus.
Oh, I was gonna say
I
I would definitely fight the rifleman. I just gotta avoid the first bullet and I'd be all right. Wow. The wolf.
Wolves are massive. Yeah, but probably, I mean, a crocodile. You know, you can choke it out.
Nah, I don't think so.
I'm fighting the rat.
Oh, I thought you said the rat
No,
was out.
I'm saying like me. I was joking. I'm like, I'll fight.
Oh yeah.
I'm fighting the rat.
Yeah, I think I'd have to go. Probably best shot would be a wolf. Best shot to survive. You're not beating a gorilla. You're not beating a bear. You're not stopping a lion. Crocodile,
Get
man.
the fuck outta here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're not gonna fight
All
a
right,
bull.
get Festus back in. I'm kicking Festus' ass.
Me too.
I'm definitely kicking Festus' ass.
I'm trained in hand-to-hand combat. Not against all the eagle. The thing with the eagle is like the eagle's probably the smallest, but again, like how am I supposed to? By the time I get my hands on it, it already had its hand on me.
Oh, it's picking your ass up.
Yeah.
Picking your ass up. So you said you're training hand-to-hand combat. So one thing, I'm not sure if you know it, but it's everywhere right now. The Last of Us. Have you watched that show on HBO?
My wife and I just saw the first episode yesterday.
Oh, dude, I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Don't, yeah.
But you know the premise of this show now, obviously.
Yeah.
So if that were to happen in real life, there is a pandemic. Who, if you had to pick like 3 people, who are you picking to bring with you to kind of start up a new colony? And like, what's your contribution to the colony if you're starting up your own thing? Pandemic happens right now.
Good question. All right, I want Jocko Willink.
Oh, dude, animal.
Well, first of all, he's just like his leadership qualities, right? He's been through some shit. He knows what it's like. I would wish he would be the damn president, but someone who can actually like control and lead and admit mistakes and whatever. That's a whole nother conversation. But you said I get 3 people?
Yeah.
I want Jocko for his leadership qualities. I want my wife because I don't want to be alone.
That's a good one.
I don't want to be alone, man.
She was watching like you bad.
I need to have my wife with me. That's my whole world, man. So yeah, Jocko, my wife, and God, let's say Joe Rogan just to keep it fun. We're gonna be laughing the whole time.
Yeah, gotta do a pot. That's what
and he's also a martial artist. So
that's true.
You got 4 martial artists there, 4 combat athletes that can lead, can talk, can love me. And what's my contribution? I guess I'm just going to be the enforcer. Whatever we got to do, man. Jocko, tell me what to do. I'm in there. Hey,
let's get it.
Yes, sir. I'm ready to go. I'll be the best, the best unit you have.
Hey, man, that sounds like a powerhouse right there.
It's a good team.
That's definitely a good team. And yeah, I said for me, if I had to, what was my contribution? Like, I'm bringing my podcast up. We're bringing back TV, baby. We're bringing back entertainment of the colony. But yeah, man, I'm glad you came through. I know I'm sure you're a busy dude right now. Let end the podcast off with some funny stuff. But what's not going to be no funny stuff is your fight right underneath you right here. You're Levine versus
De Castaneda from Spain.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so any last words for this right here? They got tune in April 1st, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Go to karate.com/how-to-watch. And yeah, man, any last words? People should stay tuned for your fight right here.
Yeah, this is gonna be dope. Listen, I don't really like talk a lot of smack. I fought this guy before. He's probably, with the exception of me, because I have to think of myself as the best, but he probably has the best one-shot knockout power in the division. He's displayed it multiple times. He has some crazy knockouts. So, I was able to beat that puzzle the first time and take him out. So I'm looking forward to doing it again. But the whole card, top to bottom, is incredible. A lot of really good fights. Again, we talked a little bit about Karate Combat. So if you're new to it and you want to check out a new fight sport that's all about action, watch it. It's free on YouTube. If you want to take a trip to Miami, tickets are relatively cheap. I'm actually could be putting a 50% discount code on tickets if you want to go live. So even if you live in Miami or the Florida area, South Florida area, you have family there that want to go and check it out, definitely go and cheer me on, or don't, whatever. Just go watch and enjoy it. But this is going to be a crazy event.
Hey, man, you could pay your money to try to see him lose, but he's not going to lose. My guy's going to be 8-0. He's going to come back on the podcast. We're going to talk about the knockout victory he had against his rival at this point. So make sure you tune in. You tap into Ross_Turbo_Levine. Tap in if you need any questions about recovery or performance, strength training. Make sure you tap into his studio as well.
Yes, sir.
you tap into Ross Turbo Performance. And any questions you have, my guy can help you out. And if you want to get into the new world of karate combat training, hit my guy up. Make sure you tune in to my adventures coming up soon, hitting Coachella next month. And then I'm also going to be going to a couple of different places this year, Miami, of course. So make sure you tune into my adventures on Explore FF. Make sure you tap into EG Pod Thunder on all social media, YouTube, podcast. Send us to the moon, baby. Get it.